Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Okay, so today I was kind of wanting to talk about the best way to figure out when is the best time to baby dance. So essentially tracking your cycle, tracking your ovulation, what tools to use for that, the apps that I like to use, and so forth. So what I'll start out with is when I was doing my research on basically the most affordable way to track your ovulation for those of you who have no idea when you're ovulating. I went to Amazon, basically looked up their bestseller. I also went online and just kind of typed in the most popular ovulation brands for the money. So as you might already know, going to the drugstore or Walmart or something like that, you can obviously purchase ovulation tests. There are a couple different options. There is a super expensive option that will, I think, basically tell you almost to the week or to the day of when it predicts that you're going to ovulate. Now, those are very expensive. So if you're someone like me who tests daily, that's just not reasonable. Okay, so obviously I don't mind putting money into finding out some information that will help me make a baby, but there is a lot of stuff and a lot of factors that go into preparing your body to have a baby. So I'll just kind of cut to the chase. The ones that I found on Amazon. They had really great reviews. That's one thing I bank on all the time is I love reading the reviews on them and basically seeing how many reviews there are, how popular they are, because if they're the most popular, they're the most bought for a reason. So that's going to be the main thing. So the brand that I ended up going with was the Easy at Home. So, like I said, I found these on Amazon. They were really affordable and they had great reviews on them. I think they were the most popular brand bought on Amazon. And I've seen a lot of other people that make YouTube videos on the whole TTC journey that use these. So, it was really easy for me to, what's the word? Oh my gosh, brain fart. Anyways, it was relate. That's the word. Okay. It was really easy for me to relate to the people that were using this brand. So I know exactly how they work. It's the same test, so you can kind of compare results. Now, I will say that from what I've read, some ovulation test brands just really don't work for some people. So they were taking them, they weren't getting any kind of results that were giving them any information, took a different brand, worked fine. So these I think are working for me. I really don't have a lot to go off of to know if they are or aren't. But you know, we're just kind of winging it. So anyways, these came with 50 LH tests, so 50 ovulation tests, and it also came with 20 HCG tests, so pregnancy tests. So that's pretty cool. I've taken a couple pregnancy tests since I got them. The first one was just because, I knew I wasn't pregnant, but anyways, did it. So these are what the tests look like. This is the LH test, so the ovulation test. Okay, they just come in this They just come in this little plastic package. You tear it off, little sticks that you dip. Okay, same thing with the pregnancy test. They're just pink. And of course they come with little manuals that explain to you what you should expect taking ovulation tests. So what an ovulation test does is it just tests your LH level. So the luteinizing hormone is a hormone in your body that is released and it triggers ovulation. So what you will see prior to ovulation is a spike in your LH level. And that's typically going to let you know that, hey, you either are ovulating or you're about to ovulate. So whenever you see a spike in your LH level, and if you're going by the test, that's the darker the test line is, okay? So one thing to remember when taking ovulation tests is they are nothing like pregnancy tests as far as reading the results. That was one thing I really had to get used to, because the first one I took, and I even read the directions, and I even knew in my head that if there was a second line, it does not mean that you're ovulating whatsoever. And I knew that, but of course, being me, I took the test. There was a second line. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm ovulating. This is so great. Am I ovulating right now? What are the odds of that? Oh, that's crazy. Okay, so I went to my husband and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm ovulating. This is so awesome. Okay, well then after you take a lot more tests, you're like, okay, there's my reality check. So not ovulating. So you will have your control line and then your actual test line. So when you are ovulating, the test line is as dark or darker than your control line. That is a really important thing to remember. So as dark or darker than your control line. So remember that. Whereas the pregnancy tests, there's either 2 lines or there's not. So it's a lot easier to read pregnancy tests than it is to read ovulation tests. I will tell you that. So give yourself like a week or so to kind of get used to how they respond. And that'll definitely help you. Another fun fact, whenever I got this box, it came with this little card, which I wish I would have kept it. I'm not sure what I did with it, but it came with this little kind of like harder paper card that recommended me downloading an app that kind of goes along with these ovulation tests. And it's called Pre-Mom, Pre-Mom, okay? So the reason I ended up downloading it was because on that little card it said that it would read your ovulation test. And of course in my head I'm like, oh, that sounds way too good to be true. Completely accurate. I absolutely love it. So prior to getting that box, the one app that I used was Ovia. Ovia was recommended to me by quite a few people. I had heard some pretty good things about it. As a general statement, a lot of the fertility apps that are out there are really great. I mean, the main things that you want to be able to do is note any kind of symptoms that you have, whether that's cramps, headaches, back pain, anything like that. Obviously, track your period. And then the things that I really like to use is the basal body temperature reading. I want to be able to input that, as well as any kind of cervical fluid for that day. So if you guys do or do not know, a really good indication, oh my gosh, my cats are going crazy right now. It's insane. Any kind of, let me start over. An indication of ovulation, can come from your cervical fluid or cervical mucus. So depending on the consistency of that, the color, anything like that will really give you a great idea if you're close to ovulating. So that's something to take note of. A lot of people say that they know their bodies. That's one of the huge indicators that they know that they're ovulating is by their cervical fluid or their cervical mucus. So definitely read into that. Look into what consistencies, what colors mean what, and that'll be super helpful. It's been really helpful for me. So when I looked for an app, I looked for a place to enter my temperature, my cervical fluid, obviously log my period, and any kind of symptoms, and just a place to take notes. So that was most important to me. Ovia gives you complete overkill. And oh my God, they're being so crazy. Anyways, and by overkill, I mean, you can, and I wish I could show you, but it's on my phone. You open up the app and there's, a little plus sign or a little calendar that you can click on to add anything that you're feeling that day. And you bring it up and you have to scroll down 3 or 4 pages because it's full of so many options that you can put. You can put if you had sex that day, if you had your period, what kind of spotting, if it was light spotting, heavy spotting, if it was brown, red, whatever. Cervical fluid, how you're feeling, what your mood is like, if you're happy, and you can choose all sorts of different options. You don't have to just choose, happy or sad. You can choose a bunch of them. And it basically just kind of keeps track of everything for you. Really, really nice. And you can also pull it up into different charts, which is cool too. So, it's just nice to have an app that you can go back and refer to. You have all the information of how you're feeling that day, because if you're anything like me, I cannot remember a dang thing from the day before. So being able to kind of look back on those things is really helpful for me. So going into getting this ovulation box, that's the app that I use. I still use Ovia. Any information that I input in Ovia, I will also input in my Pre-Mom and vice versa. The one thing that definitely turned me on to Pre-Mom was the fact that they could read the ovulation tests. So what happens is you take your ovulation test, you wait the certain amount of time, the window that they recommend, and then you go into take ovulation test, And then you can choose a couple different options. There's like a manual picture taking option where you take the picture of it, or you can select the automatic picture taking. So what happens is once you select that, there's like a little bar that runs across the top of your screen, and you can tell that's where you need to like basically fit the test strip into on your screen. And then there's a tiny little window where the little test cube where it shows the control line and the test line shows up, and it like runs like a little green like scanny thing over it, and then immediately takes a picture. I've had trouble with it just a little bit as far as when I choose the automatic picture taking of it actually taking the picture. So when you run into that, you can obviously take it manually. So the plus side of when it takes it automatically is that once it takes it, you're good. You hit the green button, great picture, cool deal. Takes you back to the ovulation test screen, and it uploads a picture of it. And if it takes it automatically, it actually reads your LH level. So when it scans how dark your test line is compared to the control line, and it will actually assign a certain like ratio or something like that of your LH level. So for example, if your LH is low, it'll tell you low, and then it'll say like 0.2 or 0.23 or 0.3, whatever your LH level is that it reads on that test strip, it'll display it. Really, really cool thing. So if you do end up taking the picture and it doesn't automatically scan it, you get tired of exiting out and coming back in and it still doesn't do it, you can take it manually. It still uploads the picture of your test strip, and then you can actually go in and edit it and decide where you think your LH sits. And it's really easy to do that. It's not like you're like trying to guess using your knowledge. There's a strip at the very bottom of the screen that gives you different colors of what that test line is closest to. So many times I've like held the test line or test strip right up to my phone to get as close to the color as I can, and you just adjust it, and then whatever color of your test line you put it to, it assigns it a certain LH level. So you can still track, your ratio or percentage or whatever. So that's really cool. I have loved that app. Absolutely loved it. It really told me when my LH peak was. So according to that app, I'm about 3 days, I'm about 3 DPO, so days past ovulation. And it's been really interesting to track it and kind of look on how my LH levels change throughout the week and throughout the weeks. And for me, my LH level seems to stay anywhere between like 0.2 and 0.37. And then when it says that I reached my peak, which is the day that it said that I ovulated, it jumped up to about 0.68. So that was really cool. It just kind of lets you know, like, hey, this is what's going on. And of course, technology, there can always be some kind of gray area. It could be reading it wrong. That's fine. I don't care. It's giving me information I didn't have before. So, yes, love that. Pre-Mom, really good app. And I'm sure it would work with any ovulation test strip. There's nothing really special about these test strips in particular. I feel like they look like every other ovulation test strip I've seen that are cheaper ones. So you might download that app even if you're using a different kind of ovulation test. So see if it works. That'd be cool. If it does, let me know. I'd be interested to know. The next thing I do is let me back up. Really important thing. Make sure you read the directions in your ovulation kit on the window that you need to wait after dipping the stick. Quit, cat. My goodness gracious. See the recommended time that you need to wait before you look at your stick after dipping it, and then how long it's good for. So once the ovulation sticks dry up, they're really not that good anymore. Mine tend to all end up kind of looking very, very similar, even though they look totally different when they're fresh. So definitely a tip, don't take it, leave it on the counter, and then come back a couple hours later and expect to get an accurate reading. Definitely make sure you pay attention to the time frame. So that's another thing, because I keep all my tests anyways, because you can see a difference between them all, but you know, I just feel like I need to keep them. So this is actually a thank you card, has my last initial on it. So I literally just go through, keep all my tests, write the date next to it. I've been writing the time, hadn't the last like week or so. I think they recommend taking ovulation tests after 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. So I usually just take mine whenever I get home from work. But I will show you guys how similar they all look. So that's why it is so important to pay attention on your time frame when you need to be looking at your ovulation test, because yeah, they look all the same, which kind of got me thinking like maybe I should try another type of ovulation test as well, because when they dry they look almost identical, but that's what that app is nice for, because it scans all of your tests. So if you want to go back through and actually look at what they looked like when they were fresh, you can, and kind of see that too. So that's a really nice thing. So that's my ovulation test suggestions. Is the easy at home. You can buy on Amazon. I think I bought them for like $20 or $25. Like I said, there was 50 LH tests, 20 HCG tests. So that's a really nice thing to have. And then the apps I use are Premom and Ovia. The other thing I'm going to talk about, the last thing I'm going to talk about in this video, as far as prepping, having sex, or doing the baby dance on the right time, and pay attention to that, is pre-seed. So pre-seed is something that I have done a lot of research on and watched a lot of reviews on, especially to kind of see if it was worth spending the money on. Because for a lubricant, it is kind of expensive, and you know, it's not something that's completely necessary. So I caught myself like questioning if I actually needed it or not. Of course, we don't probably need all these things, but we want to use them. So pre-seed is a fertility-friendly lubricant. One thing to note is there are a lot of lubes out there that are not fertility friendly, and they actually will kill off sperm or make it very, very hard for them to travel to where they need to go, you know, when you use them. So something to keep in mind if you're lube people. Sorry, family, if you're watching this, like, please log off. I know it's TMI, but Jerry and I have never really been people that use lube. I feel like my body produces enough, like, cervical fluid and what it's supposed to do for baby dancing to be comfortable. But I thought if this could help get the sperm where it needs to go, then I'm all for it. I've read a lot of people that are the same way as us. They don't really use lube, but they really enjoyed it. So it was something I figured we'd try out. We have not tried it yet because I'd mentioned in my other video, we're not going to actively start trying until next month sometime. And this isn't necessarily a large amount, so I don't really want to waste it because it was kind of expensive. So you can see it's about a little bit smaller than the size of my hand. This is what the tube looks like. So, my goodness, pretty small. So like I said, I just didn't want to waste it when I knew that we weren't going to try. So when you buy this lubricant, I just found it on Amazon. I think I've read that you can find it like at Target and Walmart and a couple like CVS stores or something like that. So it's not just an online only thing. But it's for use when trying to get pregnant. Clinically shown to be fertility friendly, helps support sperm quality, which is really cool. And the biggest thing is it mimics your own cervical fluid or fertile fluid. So that's going to be the biggest thing. You know, some people baby dance a lot and pretty often. So if that happens, it's definitely helpful to have something like this to help the situation go a little bit better. And, you know, it helps get the sperm where it's supposed to go. So that's a really cool thing. Along with the tube, it comes with, I think, like 9 or 10 applicators. So from what I've read, depending on the type of fluid that you already have in your body, how much help you need, basically, you can measure out the amount to use. So it comes with these little applicators that have different lines. And from what I've read, you basically take this end, you screw it on, obviously, you take this in, you pull it up, and you just keep going on however many lines you think you need. So also from what I've read, a little goes a long way with this. So a lot of people that followed the directions, and according to the box, needed about, to go up to about the 3 gram, I think it is, mark. Said it was way overkill, and they actually only were comfortable and felt good with like 1 to maybe 2. So try it out, see how it goes. Little goes a long way kind of deal. So next month when we start trying, I'm going to try that out to see how it is. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with the lube. Definitely doesn't hurt. And it just kind of like changes things up a little bit, you know, something new to try. So that could be kind of fun. But I like that it's fertility friendly. I've read a lot of great things about it. Things on the back, it says sperm moves freely through pre-seed. So pre-seed fertility friendly personal lubricant is a patented formula that mimics your own cervical fluid so sperm can swim freely. And there's a cute little picture on the back. Then below it, it says other lubricants limit sperm motility. Clinical studies show that other lubricants can limit sperm motility. This is why fertility experts recommend using pre-seed lubricant to optimize fertility. So kind of as a picture reference, it's kind of cute. So the top picture is the sperm moving all freely. This one is the other lube that creates basically a wall and a boundary for it to pass through. So makes sense to me. Sign me up. Got it. Okay. Like I said, you can find this on Amazon. I think it was like $29, so it was a little bit more expensive. But we'll see how that goes. I've read a lot of people who said that they got pregnant like the first time they started using pre-seed, whereas they had a lot of trouble before. So it can sometimes, infertility can sometimes come down to things as simple as that, like the sperm not being able to get to where it's supposed to be going. So really cool little fact. That, I believe, is all I have for you guys tonight. I will make another video for this week. I'm not sure what it's going to be on yet. I do have a list of names, baby names, boys and girls, built up pretty well. And I've really enjoyed watching like the baby name tag videos. So I might make one of those. Typically it's all moms that are saying names they didn't use for their babies. But I might as well make one. I have a friend who's having a baby boy, and I'm going to send my boy list to her. So I got almost all my names off of the videos that I watched, so could be helpful. Anyways, appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, like I said, please drop comments down in the comment section. Subscribe to my channel. I have no subscribers yet as of now, so it'd be really cool for someone to follow me along in the journey. And if you have any questions or want me to do any kind of particular videos, let me know. Like this video if you liked it, and yeah, I'll see you soon. So thanks, guys.